It's not often you get a chance to turn a loan into an outright grant, but that's potentially one of the most attractive features of the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP. Right now, banks are in the early stages of accepting PPP loan forgiveness applications. Fifth Third Bank FITB started the process a couple of weeks ago. Bank of America BAC sent emails last Friday saying that the forgiveness application is now available. The nation's biggest bank, Chase, hasn't started yet. Their website says they are continuing to prepare to accept your forgiveness requests. Banks opening up the process might be welcoming news for those of you eager to get these loans off of your balance sheet. But just because banks are taking applications, does that mean you should apply? A few words of caution before you do. Your covered period matters. Even though some banks are opening the forgiveness applications, they are being selective about when you can apply. Bank of America, for instance, will only take your application after your covered period ends. By contrast, TD Bank allows you to apply when your loan proceeds were spent or incurred within the covered period. That means you can apply early if you exhaust your funds before end of the covered period. Fifth Third is sending out emails to borrowers in waves in order to provide better customer service. Your covered period is important because it affects when you can apply for forgiveness. If you were funded before June 5, 2020, you get to choose between an 8-week covered period, which has passed, or the 24-week covered period, which for those of you who were approved and funded in April may be coming up. There's also an alternative covered period, which starts the first day of the first pay period following deposit of loan funds. If you were funded on or after June 5, 2020, and have to wait the entire covered period, you won't be able to apply for forgiveness until November 20th at the earliest. Selecting the right covered period not only influences the amount of time you have to spend the funds. By choosing the longer pay period, you have even more time to spend the money on payroll and non-payroll costs. In short, the more time you have to spend the money, the more will be eligible for forgiveness. This is especially important for the self-employed and owner-employees whose compensation was capped at 2.5 months' worth of 2019 net profit. In order to get that full amount forgiven, you'd have to take the entire 24-week covered period. If you apply early, you may not get the entire amount forgiven. Currently, there are two types for forgiveness applications. The easy version applies to borrowers that the application requires fewer calculations and less documentation for eligible borrowers. You can determine if you are able to use the easy application by reviewing TETH checklist for using SBA Form 3508 EZ, PDF, on the SBA's website.